Ramsey, Aubameyang, oh brilliant! He took it first time and with devastating effect. Put through by Steve Bold, would you believe it?
I don't want to waste what's left. The storms we chase.
The game, according to the referee, and Bergkamp certainly life in hand.
No, I don't want to waste what's left. And on we'll go.
Henri, what a goal!
Stands through the highways till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go.
He's in again, pushed out by Bartes, Wiltor!
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another show. Welcome to this review of the North London Derby. I just want to remind you all before I get into the review to smash the like button. Would really appreciate that. And leave your comments down below because I will read them very, very shortly. But yeah, big up to everybody in the chat. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful evening. And it is a wonderful evening as well because, North London is red. Big up to Liam Vince already in the chat. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. Big up to Solskjaer and his Nan's Grunch and Seringham. Hope you're well as well for tuning in. But yeah, listen, it is a very it was a very good win yesterday, wasn't it? Against Tottenham. We literally in the first half, certainly for most of the game as well, we outplayed them. I thought so anyway. I thought we outplayed them. We can be a lot to be thankful for after that game as well, because it was probably one of the games that you could look on it and go, okay, yes, we played well. We actually played really well and we dominated them. Spurs, let's be fair here, were very, very poor. I don't think they were firing on all cylinders, and we took advantage of that. We really did. We took advantage of that. But see, the thing is, and I've said this for time as well, that yes, it was a great win. Yes, we won. And, it was fantastic. It's always great to beat Tottenham. But you know what? I'm going to be brutally honest here. What does the win actually do for our season? Because apart from bragging rights and banter, we're still 10th. Do you know what I mean? Like, we were 10th before we started. We're 10th now. We've beaten them. We're still 10th. Liam Vince says Doherty, the worst right back performance. Worst performance that I've seen since Bellerin versus Spurs. Yeah, he wasn't great for Spurs, was he, Doherty? But yeah, that's Doherty. Sorry. But yeah, like going back to my point, what does he actually do for our season? This win. And this is the point I was making before the game. It's great to get bragging rights and banter, but it doesn't really do nothing for our season. You know what I mean? It doesn't really do nothing for our season. Like I said, we're still 10th. We're still languishing in a worse position than we should be in. So it doesn't really do anything for our season. Having said that, we did play really well. I was really impressed with the team as a collective. I was really impressed with the way that we just took it to Spurs. The only thing that is slightly worrying me, and I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys, is that we're getting a lot of chances. A lot of chances. We're creating an awful lot, more than what we did at the start of the season. At the start of the season, we couldn't create chances for Toffee. But now we're creating an awful lot of the chances, but not taking them. And when you create the amount of chances that we are creating, you need to take them, because otherwise, we saw it, didn't we? In the game yesterday, that we created a lot, but yet Spurs created next to nothing. They created one chance, had one shot on goal, but they were clinical with that. So you could see, as much as it was a great win, you could sort of see the problems that are still at this club, and we need to get more clinical in when it comes to being on top in a game and creating chances. We need to be more clinical with our finishing, because as we saw yesterday, it only takes one chance for the opposition and that they're a goal up. Because we were all over Spurs until Lamela scored his goal. And then, it just completely put us on the back foot. But luckily, we had a happy outcome yesterday. But it's not always going to be like that. We're going to come up against some tough opposition between now until the end of the season, especially in that Europa League campaign. And we need to be finishing those chances that we're creating. Big up Sam Caltnande. So what does it do? It takes us closer to the top 6. I get your point, but it actually doesn't take us closer to the top 6, because we're still in 10th. We are actually still in 10th. And I'm not being negative here. I don't want you guys to sit here and think that I'm being negative. I'm actually really glad that we beat Tottenham. Listen, I always want to get one of... I always want to, beat Tottenham. And I get your point, Sam Carr, about beating top sides. That's fantastic. And it does wonders for our confidence. But again, I want to see this level of performance when it matters. So if we progress in the Europa League campaign, look, we've got a healthy lead against Olympiacos. So, in theory, that should be straightforward. But it's not going to be straightforward. Let me be honest. It isn't going to be as straightforward as what people think it's going to be. But I want to see it when we're getting down to that, down to the last 8 of the Europa League, and maybe depending on if we get past the quarterfinals to the semi-finals. I want to see us really step up and do it then, because that's when the real pressure is on. Let's be honest here. Is the real pressure on in the league? Because our league form is diabolical right now. And yes, we're turning it around gradually. We're trying to... Do you know what I mean? We're turning it around, but we need to do it where it matters. Liam Vince right here has got it spot on, and I absolutely agree. He said Jose Mourinho will want revenge. They'll probably be revenge in Europe. He does not like losing. In the long run, it will probably be a bad thing. Exactly. Do you know what? Right? Yeah, Liam, hats off, because you spot. I've been saying this, and I said this before. The game. I said, actually, let's not get too carried away. And I'm happy we won. I don't want people thinking I'm negative and that I'm dumbing down this derby win. But I'm just also looking at the bigger picture. And I don't know, I said this to you guys before, that psychologically I've just got this horrible feeling that it could end up being another Chelsea in the Europa League situation, and it could be the same thing with Spurs. And I've just got that horrible feeling, and I really hope it doesn't come to fruition. but I've just got that horrible feeling that's where it's going. We could get them in the Europa League and they could take their revenge. And then, listen, like I said to you, and I said to you guys before we won, I said I'll take a win, and I'm happy that we won. But if I could swap it for a Europa League win, because it matters more in the context of where we are as a club and in the context of our season, one win at the Emirates in a poor league season is not really going to have much of an impact. And I get what you're saying, Sam Colt, that it takes us closer to the top 6. I get what you're saying, that it's good for confidence. But I would swap all of that in a heartbeat if it meant beating them in maybe a quarter-final, semi-final, or even final of the Europa League, because that matters more, especially the final. If we go all the way and get there, I'd rather do you see what I'm saying? Like the context of the season. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy. Let's have a look. We might be 10th, but we're closer to top 6 with 5 points off it. Yeah. Big up Chadwick as well. Bro, I've not seen you around for a long time. But big up to you. Hope you're well. Big up King D as well. Thank you very much. I've not seen you around here before, so thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate you. Big up Omar. Let's have a look. Big up Dan, said North London is red. We don't have to choose, Daniel. We can still do both, especially with fixtures we have. Yeah, I'm not saying we can do. I'm not saying that we have to choose. I'm just saying that psychologically, football doesn't really work like that, does it? And listen, I don't know. Like, I've just got this gut feeling that it's going to be 2019 written all over again, and maybe it's because I've had my fingers burnt with this Arsenal side so many times. And it's not even an Arteta thing here that I'm getting at, because I don't think Arteta has anything to do with football psychology. So I'm not even getting at him for this. But you remember back in 2019 when we did a similar thing. We lost to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge at 3-2. Then we went and beat them in the Emirates, and everyone was like, "Oh, brilliant victory, fantastic!" And they were the only real competitors who we had to compete with in the Europa League. And then we drew them in the final, and they got their revenge in probably the worst way possible. So I'm just, listen, football psychology kind of suggests that Tottenham are going to get their revenge, and they're still in the Europa League along with United and Rangers. Villarreal, there's still some decent teams in there, but I've just got this feeling that it's going to come, like the victory yesterday is going to come back to bite us on the arse when it matters. Big up Cheddars. He said, "I'm a Liverpool fan. I would rather lose every game than play shitty Europa." Yeah, but see, do you know what it is though, Cheddars, right? Yeah, I look at the Europa League and it's a means to an end. So, like, I want to get Champions League football. Listen, I don't care about finishing top 6. I honestly don't. I really couldn't care less whether we finish top 6, 8th, 9th. Listen, let's be real. Our Premier League season is so dead right now. Even there's, our Premier League season is so dead. There's more life in a graveyard than in our Premier League season right now. So I couldn't care less what happens in the league. And I know people say, "Oh, the league's the bread and butter," but listen, we can't get anything out of the league. We ain't getting top 4. That's done. That's finished. It's over. So the next best thing that could save our season is winning the Europa League. And that's what I want to do. I couldn't care. I would gladly sacrifice every game in the league if it meant that we could go and win the Europa League, because that matters more as a club moving forward. Would give us better finances. It would have Champions League football next season. I don't care whether people say, oh, but we're never going to win the Champions League. Listen, you've got to be in it to win it. And I'm not saying we're going to win it, but just to be in there to compete. That's what I want to do. I want to be in the Champions League to compete. I ain't fussed about winning the competition. It ain't going to happen. We need to, the squad needs a big overhaul. But people can't complain about not being able to win the Champions League when we're not even in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's mad. I've seen so many Arsenal fans going, oh, but I'm happy being in the Europa League because we got a chance of winning it. I don't care whether we've got a chance of winning the Europa League. I just want to win this Europa League this season just so we can get back into the Champions League, because I'm done with this competition. I'm done with the Europa League. It's a shit competition. It's boring. I want to be back in at the top table. I want to be back in the Champions League. And if we have to sacrifice our Premier League form to win the Europa League to do that, then I'll gladly do that. Because what's the alternative here, guys? The alternative is that we have another season either outside of Europe or back in the Europa League. And I don't want that. So look at Big up Static. He said, hey, Daniel, a fantastic win for Arsenal. Yeah, it was a good win. It was a good win. It's tough to be happy as an Arsenal fan, Daniel. I get it. But that Europa League loss might be better for us and go against Spurs. And it might go against Spurs. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It might do. It might do. But do you know what? We don't have a good record in European finals. Let's be honest. We lost the Europa League. We lost the Champions League final in 2006. But yeah, it's mad. I don't know. Like I just got this feeling that Mourinho is going to go all out if we get them. Sam Carlton says, to be honest, I fear Rangers the most. Yeah, do you know what? Rangers are a decent side. But do you know why I fear Spurs? And this is because, like, we've got this laugh now, but they're going to have, if they beat us in the Europa League final, if I'm not saying this could happen, because do you know what? Spurs could get like Villarreal or something and get knocked out. Or Spurs could get Rangers and Rangers could knock them out. So, do you know what I mean? This is just all super, you know, it's all this might never happen. You know, I've just got this gut feeling, this horrible gut feeling. But I just don't want Spurs to have the last laugh like Chelsea did 2 years ago. Liam Vince says, don't forget Jose's record in finals. Yeah. Also, 7th place this year will get UEFA Conference League. Yeah. Fuck that for a game of shoulders. This league in general has been nothing short of poor. Exactly, Omar. This win is as good as it was. It means nothing. We need to focus on Europa League. Yeah, exactly. Big up Steve Jenkins. He said, who do you want in the quarterfinals, as we virtually have one foot in it? I'm not so sure, you know. It kind of depends on who gets through. I'm going to wait and basically see what happens when, you know, if we get through. I'm just taking it game by game, and that's what you got to do as an Arsenal fan, take it game by game, because listen, every game, I could predict somebody and then we could go and balls it up on Thursday. So let's get through Thursday first before we start looking ahead. Don't forget, guys, as well, I forgot to remind you at the top of the show, I'm going to be tomorrow doing a preview with Stephen Contero for the Olympiacos game. He was on the show last week, on the channel last week, doing a preview, and he's going to be back on again at 2 p.m. tomorrow, 2 p.m. UK time. And we're going to be looking ahead to that second leg of the Olympiacos game, and we're going to be looking back at the... I'm going to be asking him as well where it went wrong for Olympiacos. So, yeah, he's going to come and give his Olympiacos perspective on the game as he did last week. So do all tune into that. Remember, guys, keep smashing that like button as well. We'd really appreciate it. Steve Jenkins says, Daniel, do you think Martinelli will leave as he's not getting a chance under fraud Arteta or fraud Tita? Yeah, I'm not so sure. Like, I don't know, like this Martinelli thing is quite worrying. It's mad. Steve, you've obviously been talking to Randy. Do you know what, that guy? Jesus Christ, Randy. But yeah, he talks about Man United more than I do, mate. Big up Ian Gould. He said, one thing, we can't be complacent on Thursday. It's not a done deal. Exactly, mate. Absolutely spot on. It isn't a done deal. Yeah, it's mad. It is total mad. But you are actually right. The other thing I wanted to touch upon as well in this Arsenal Spurs match review. Listen, I've sort of touched upon the game and said it was a great win. I've sort of given my thoughts on that. But I want to touch upon Aubameyang because he was left out for obviously disciplinary reasons. And, from what we're led to believe, that it's not been the first time that he's been left out. I mean, it's not the first time that he's arrived late to games or arrived late, broken match day protocol. So the question I want to put to you guys is, there's two questions. One is, do you think Aubameyang is captain material? And two, do you think this is the start of him trying to force his way out of the club? Because I'll tell you something, and the reason why I asked that question is because, there's two things here. Arteta could have kept this under wraps. Do you know what I mean? Like, he actually volunteered the information to Sky when they asked him about why Aubameyang's not in the squad. Arteta could have just said, "Oh, I've left him on the bench for tactical reasons, blah blah blah." Like what he's done with other players. But he's actually come out and said disciplinary measures. So Arteta could have kept this in house, but chose not to. He chose to put it out there publicly, which kind of suggests to me that he's obviously, because Aubameyang's done this before, he's obviously wants to publicly give Aubameyang a shock. But the interesting question, and the reason why I ask you guys, do you think this is him trying to force his way out of the club, is because we've seen similar things at Dortmund before. Remember, before he joined us, he was doing similar things at Dortmund, not turning up on time. There was a little bit of lateness. There was a little bit of lateness in terms of like him turning, and he went a little bit AWOL at times at Dortmund, and obviously we know that he was trying to force out a move from Dortmund. Do you reckon it's the same thing happening all over again, or do you reckon it's just one of those things and it will blow over? I want to get you guys' thoughts. What do you think? Pick up Arsenal. Alex as early says great win. Omar says, Daniel, you need to discipline your boy, mate. Tell him to keep time. Listen, I've always stood by Aubameyang, but I just can't help thinking if he's trying to force his way out. Pick up Jamie as well. Liam says, get rid, had issues at Dortmund. Pick up Joanne. I'm good, Joanne. Thanks for tuning in. Getting too big for his boots, costing too much dollar without too much return, says Ian. And have a look. Yeah, Static as well. Emery did the opposite to Arteta. Omar says the captain of Arsenal Football Club should be setting a standard, not turning up late to a North London derby and then sulking like a baby when he's get rightfully dropped. Yeah, that's the thing as well. And did you notice as well, you know, when all the substitutes did a warm down after the game, and we didn't see this, I only heard about it because Charles Watts reported it, was that he just drove off in his Lamborghini for everybody to hear. Do you know what I mean? Jamie says Auber started to think he's too good for the club. Yeah, but you know what? Like, I'm just going to be brutally honest here. This is kind of like Van Persie all over again, isn't it? Because, you know, and I'm starting to maybe side with these top players. And the only reason I'm saying that is because what ambition have we shown this season? Let's be real here, right? Yeah. You know, you think Aubameyang probably signed because he thought we were going to progress as a club. Can you guys tell me, honestly, and I'm not, this is not an Arteta in or Arteta out question, but in terms of a club, can you honestly say that we've actually progressed as a club? Because I'm not seeing much progression, if I'm being honest. And if I was Aubameyang, I'd be like, fuck's sake, do you know what I mean? I'm not, you know, I've signed here, I'm on high wages. And I'm not saying that, you know, you know, his actions are right, but I'm just starting to all these players can't be wrong. You know, Aubameyang can't be wrong. Van Persie can't be wrong. Fabregas can't be wrong. Alexis Sanchez can't be wrong. Come on, man. Like, all these players can't be wrong. And most of these players that have left because Arsenal have lacked ambition. Are you telling me that all those players are wrong and the club's right? Do you see what I'm saying? I don't actually blame these big players for wanting out. Let's have a look here. Static says, I actually heard Aubameyang's car noise as he drove off. It was very loud as Jose Mourinho was giving his interview. Do you know what, mate? I've been there outside the stadium, right? Because I used to hang around. You guys know that I used to do AFTV. I used to be there waiting to do my interview and used to hear Aubameyang drive off. He used to sound like a bloody racing car. Do you know what I mean? He'd just rev his engine up and then, you know, he'd just rev his engine up and do it really loud. And he used to just drive off at high speed. It was mad. Ian Gold says money's gone to his head, not captain material. I'm not, you know, like I don't disagree with you guys to a point, but I just think that the club need to, Do you know what I mean? The club need to show more ambition. And come on, let's be real here. Languishing in 10th, we're in a worse position than we were last season. We've lost 11 or 12 times this season. Do you honestly think, can you see any progression? Because I ain't seeing progression. I honestly ain't see, like, if we win the Europa League and get into the Champions League, next season, then you could probably look on it then and say, there is progression because we're back in the Champions League. But at this current time and moment, what progression have we seriously made? We're out of pretty much every competition bar the Europa League. If we don't win the Europa League, it will be a trophyless season. What progression can you honestly say? And I know a lot of people are going to go, we've won the FA Cup last season. I don't count that as progression. I'm even looking at, like, progression for me is moving up the table, getting into that top 4 or qualifying for the Champions League by winning the Europa League. At this current time and moment, I've not seen any significant progression. And I agree with you, Joanne, as well. We shouldn't get rid of Aubameyang unless we're going to replace him. I told you, and I know this is like it's never going to happen. If we got rid of Aubameyang, there's no player on this earth that could replace him that I'd be happy with, unless we went and got Kylian Mbappe, which isn't going to happen. If we got rid of Aubameyang and the club went out and brought Mbappe, I'd be happy. I'd be like, yeah, suitable replacement for Aubameyang. But if we're going to go out there and spend money on a 2-bit striker that's not as good as Aubameyang, then you can forget it. I ain't going to be happy. But listen, the club ain't going to spend 200 million on Mbappe. This is, I'm just dreaming. I agree with you, Steve. Right? I think Tierney would be a great captain. Would be a fantastic captain. Liam Vince said, "I'm glad my club has a proper captain. Been there and done that." No, I haven't seen no progression, and there won't be if Arteta, Bellerin, Xhaka, and El Neni stayed. Oh, Eddie. I thought you said El Neni. Eddie. Yeah, you're right. Steve Jenkins says, Orba's car goes faster than him. Progression is getting better than 8th in an FA Cup. Is bottom half and no trophy considered progression? Well, most of the Arsenal fans will think it's progression, mate. Most of the Arsenal fans would see it progression. But you know what it is? It's mad. It's mad. Let's have a look here. So yeah, I've been going for 33 minutes. So listen, guys, I'm going to wrap up now. But do smash the like button if you haven't done so already. Do drive the likes up. I am going to be back tomorrow with my guest, Stephen Conturo. We're going to be looking ahead at the Olympiacos game. We're going to be looking back at last week's game and looking ahead to Thursday's game. So, yeah, do join us for that at 2 p.m. UK time. And then I will be back on Claude's channel on Wednesday from, I think it's about 11:30. We usually do that. And then on Thursday, I'll be back with my pre-match build-up and my post-match show after the game. So, yeah, like I said, the Spurs watch-along was the last one. And, yeah, big up to everybody who tuned in for that one. But, yeah, I'll be back. That's the content for this week. So, yeah, listen, enjoy the rest of your day. Smash the like button on your way out. I'll catch you all back here at 2 p.m. tomorrow. And come on, you Gunners. North London is red.